I think where we should start is the flips that defined this recruiting cycle. And there has been some huge ones today. Jared Curtis we've touched on. Caden Dixon-Wyatt we've touched on. Tom, you were all over the Curtis, so we don't need like a 10-minute expose on it. Just give us the nuts and bolts of Jared Curtis. Because for the fourth year in a row, we had a five-star quarterback, at the buzzer, flipped from another school. It was Dante Moore, Oregon, UCLA, Dylan Raiola, Georgia, Nebraska, Bryce Underwood, LSU, Michigan. All those guys have panned out. So Jared Curtis, how did this go down? How did you know?
Two people. Clark Lee getting the extension, Diego Pavia personally recruiting him, passing the torch, saying, take my job, I'm leaving, I'm off to the NFL, come be the guy. So that's really what played out behind the scenes. And in the end, and I will say it till the day I die, this kid simply just did not want to go to Georgia. There was a point where he wanted to go to Oregon. We were confident in that reporting, felt great about the Ducks, ended up at Georgia. In the end, he's going to go to Vanderbilt, which I genuinely believe is the place that makes him happy. He wants to be there. He wants to put on for his city, for his state, in front of friends and family, and just be the guy, QB1. I mean, that was it, too. That was the big difference maker. The kid wants to play. He doesn't want to go sit for 2 years, maybe a year, and just be the guy at that point. He wants to be the day one guy, and he has that ability. So when you mix the day one, Pavia, Clark Lee, I mean, that's what moved the needle for the Commodores.
Well, guys, I'm fired up. Class of 2027. What five-star quarterback are we talking about this time next year? Blair, Mater Day. If you're watching this show, you now know that the school is loaded with talent. We've been talking about these two wide receivers, but they got some big boys as well. And these flips happened a while back, but to me, a guy that's studied this entire class, these are big deals. Kodi Greene, offensive tackle. He was committed to Oregon, a kid that's originally from up in that area of the country, headed to Washington. In Washington, signing highest ranked recruiting class ever. Washington, talked with some people inside their buildings. They think Kodi Greene could be their starting left tackle as a true freshman. I agree. How did they get that one done?
Big offensive lineman, a player with a lot of experience and kind of behind the scenes. And talking to Brandon Huffman, our insider, who's well tied in and well looped into that Pacific Northwest, it was kind of like a tugging to his heartstrings, right, in a way, where it always felt like he wanted to play at Washington, had committed to Oregon. They make a full-on full-court press to keep that kid home, even though he had been playing his high school football in Southern California, to pull him away from the Ducks, which has been doing a terrific job of developing offensive linemen. I think Washington sold him on being that cornerstone piece that you're talking about, being a building block piece.
Yeah, and I know Oregon's number 2 in the rankings right now, so this is going to sound a bit silly, but what USC is doing, what Washington is doing, that has made it much harder for Dan Lanning. And Tom, the big nose at Mater Day, he was committed to Oregon as well, and he ends up at USC. And he's a guy that, again, talking with some of these people in the personnel departments, the Trojans think, hey, year one, he is going to be a part of our rotation.
I heard a story that I might share now, right? Tomuhini Topui. So he committed to Oregon last season during that emotional game when they played Ohio State inside Autzen Stadium. And I heard he went up there on a visit, kind of got caught up in the moment, in the drama, in the theatrics, and just the atmosphere. And if you've ever been in that stadium, you just know how incredible that place is from a game atmosphere standpoint. So he's walking through the building, going up different levels, and they essentially convince him to commit at that time. And maybe he wasn't ready, but like I said, that night was special for him. So he commits. Kind of, in a way, gets some remorse, right, at some point. USC, they put on the full court press as well, and they come in with their big junior day. And like we touched on earlier with the full court press on all the Southern California kids, he gets caught up in that moment, but the difference was that USC had him in their backyard. And so they could continue to be in his ear, and they could continue to go to Mater Day, and they could continue to recruit him, and getting Mark Bowman, getting Sean Scott at his own high school, recruiting Caden Dixon-Wyatt. Having that presence allowed USC to get this past the finish line, and Oregon was trying at the final weekend. Remember, they had a big home game right before they played Washington. They played USC. They tried to get Tom back up to Eugene. Didn't happen. The Trojans get this one done.
Tom, well, from Tom to Tom.
I'm just one Tom. Yeah.
Another big flip, and this one's special to me and you because let's go back to the summer. OT7 championships right down the road, raining. We had a studio set up. It was a who's who. It felt like it felt like the Super Bowl in Media Row. We had all these big time recruits there. Tristen Keys, the 5-star wide receiver, he was running around with an LSU hat on. You told me he's not going to sign with LSU, and then we had Tristen Keys on set, and we asked him right where he was going to sign.
Tristen, I got to ask, I just brought up on the broadcast, you were rocking the LSU hat earlier. No LSU hat right now. Yeah. My buddy Tom Loy over here said yesterday that he doesn't think you might. He thinks you might not end up at LSU, taking a ton of official visits. So what's the latest with the recruitment? Where do things stand right now? I feel like they're doing a great job what they do from the coaching standpoint. I went on OV this past weekend, I want to say. Yeah, this past weekend, got a chance to get a feel with locker room guys, talk to the coaches. I've been there 1,000 times, man, so I pretty much know how everything kind of flows, so yeah.
Guys, we've been doing this a long time. Like, coach speak is a thing. We need to start with recruit speak because that's the vibe I got from that. Tom, another one you were all over. He was committed to LSU. Yeah. Tristen Keys, 5-star, obviously, a true game record. Now he's headed to Tennessee. I think he's a perfect fit in that Josh Heupel offense with Faison Brandon, the quarterback. Take us behind the scenes there.
He was just never going to go to LSU. It's just that simple. And he made that very clear to me. He was on campus, and he had told me a week or so before that. I think I wrote this War Daddy piece breaking down the 5 or 6 contenders. He's like, I'm a little bit away from making a decision, not doing anything quickly. And then all of a sudden I get a text notification that he announced his decision. And I was blown away. And basically he told me right away, this was a little bit of a miscommunication. He wasn't ready to commit, and then he's just going to let it play out. And then August 28th, he decommits from LSU, and that's where, he basically told me the entire time, keep your crystal ball in Tennessee. He was the one who initially told me to put it in. He said, keep your crystal ball in Tennessee, and then that day is when he called me and said, hey, you're going to be right. You and Ivans, we talked about it at Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to Tennessee. So, again, there was never a point, and I made this very clear at Go Vols 24/7 the entire time. Everybody was freaking out. Oh, you were wrong. We lost him to LSU. Again, he was never going to LSU. Huge win for Tennessee. He wants to play with Faison Brandon. He loves Knoxville, loves the game day environment. Again, obviously commanding a high dollar amount, but again, never was going anywhere other than Tennessee.
Tom, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. And speaking of dollar amount, right? And we hear things all over the place all the time. Adidas is going to be the new flagship for Tennessee, right? That they're going to be the trademark, and it's going to be one of those programs that they really kind of get behind. Mm-hmm. Tristen Keys is an Adidas athlete. How much of an influence did that have on things? That
was a factor, no question. I mean, it makes sense. Why they're never going to? We know some people at Adidas. They're never going to force anybody to go to an Adidas school. It's just that's not how they do their business, and it's not going to sit well with kids. But in the end, these guys, that Adidas deal, we had heard that for months. We talked about it. You and I were in Orlando talking on the golf course at one time that we had heard Adidas was going to be or Tennessee was going to become an Adidas school. That was a huge factor. It really is. In a perfect world, you have your Adidas guys playing for an Adidas school. Under Armour, Zion Ely, Under Armour guy, going to Maryland, things like that. So I don't know the dollar figure, but it did not hurt anybody with him going to Tennessee.
Hey, all the Penn State viewers out there, aren't they moving to Adidas here? There's a lining of hope out there. Tom, let's go to another quarterback here. We start with Jared Curtis. Jett Thomalla was committed to Iowa State. Yep. Showed up at the Elite 11 finals. Committed to Iowa State. We were eating breakfast before day one got underway. You asked him, hey, are you flipping to Alabama? I think so. I think I am. 20 minutes later, he was committed to Alabama. Take us behind the scenes on this one, because this is a quarterback that reminds me a little bit of Daniel Jones there in the state of Nebraska. Excellent in terms of his ability to layer the football around coverage. I mean, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer continue to just reload at that quarterback position.
Yeah, at the time we saw him in Nashville, Cooper Patagna and the guys that were there with me at this event, he was outstanding. And you looked at it and you're like, wow, what an eval, what a get for the Cyclones. Fast forward to the Elite 11 finals, and it's like Alabama just comes in and just snatches him up. So, and then seeing all these tweets from our Bama insider, Brett Greenberg, who does a phenomenal job covering the Crimson Tide week in and week out. It's 3, 4, 5 touchdowns, no picks, throws for 50 touchdowns. I mean, what an incredible senior season. Great job by you guys on the evaluation. So just a huge win for the Crimson Tide, but this was simply Alabama made a push. They got it done. A little bit behind the scenes, though, Nebraska, when they kind of parted ways with Dayton Raiola, they made a move here, and Jett basically said, thanks, but no thanks. Alabama's been on me since day one, and I'm a loyal guy, and I'm sticking with the Crimson Tide.